Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the performance or how to complete the movie bosses challenge for the Fighting Legend Goku event, completely free to play. So as always, obviously we're taking a look at just how we can complete the Fighting Legend Goku event with a team entirely comprised of free-to-play units. And because we're taking on the challenges, this time we're taking on movie bosses. Now movie bosses, very similar to the Wicked Bloodlines team, as I'm sure you can imagine, with one added extra. So obviously we're using as a lead the Int Metal Cooler Army, a great unit that got a fantastic EZA, a very solid EZA as well. Just a great unit, and also alongside that augmented leader skill for us to use, so that 120% extreme coverage is really coming in handy. So that kind of really augments how well this team does. Now obviously fantastic unit. In terms of the rest, of the team, like I said, very similar to our run that we did with Wicked Bloodlines. So the thing about the Metal Cooler Army is obviously Metal Cooler Army themselves provides a lot of regen, support for artificial life forms, of which we have a couple on the rotation. I think our only two are the Friend Cooler, who obviously is not a not an artificial life forms, and we also have, of course, the Android 13, the Tech Cooler, who also at this point is not an artificial life form. So beyond that though, we do have a very, very, very solid team. They do a lot of good work. So there's a lot of good abilities going on. You know, we have Tech Cooler, who is a support for Terrifying Conquerors, which is great, but he also stacks attack and defense, which makes him just defense actually, which makes him very strong in these long form events. It's always good when you have a unit that stacks attack and defense. You know, very solid performance by him. Really helps to also augment the Strength Cooler. Decent links with him as well, so obviously we're trying to run them as a pairing, which I think is, you know, solid. Only thing we're truly missing out on is Big Bad Bosses, but it's not the end of the world because we don't actually end up getting low enough to utilize that enough. I then decided to bring the AGL Metal Cooler, the Int Metal Cooler, and the Strength Metal Cooler. So all three for different reasons. The Int Metal Cooler is just a decent unit to have. He's kind of the midway point between a defensive and an offensive option because he stacks attack and defense and he works mainly on crit. He's just a very solid option. So he's good in a lot of ways. Obviously, you know, he doesn't provide too much, but he's going to link up well enough with the Metal Cooler Army to be a very decent option. Then we also have the AGL Metal Cooler, very similar except more defensive orientated, gains only defense per orb, which is obviously helpful but not the same as gaining attack and defense. He also, of course, you know, has evasion as well, which is super duper helpful, so that's obviously also going to assist us. And yeah, just a very solid option. Now the Strength Cooler is not the type Strength Cooler, but the Strength Metal Cooler, not Metal Cooler Strength. And all of these units you can get from the 9 billion power event, or I think that's what it's called. So very available team, like a very, very good, easy to get team. Nowadays a super easy to get team. I remember back in the day farming the Metal Cooler team was a bit of a pain, but now it's way easier overall, so just honestly a super good time. But yeah, in general, pretty simple stuff. I will say this team does a good job across the board. We do have to use some items, but the combination of regen and just decent stats kind of just makes the event pretty fun and pretty chill to do, which is always what we want from a free-to-play team. You know, especially on older content, we don't want to have to think too hard. So if you're looking at netting some stones you never netted before, or maybe you're just looking at options for your teams, this is kind of where, you know, everything lies. So just very good stuff in general. And yeah, honestly speaking, just solid. Just a solid time. So yeah, as we progress through, we've got the Strength Cooler, as I was kind of walking through them. Strength Metal Cooler is just a solid option. He's not going to blow anyone's minds, but he is a support and he does raise attack and defense after his super, so he just tends to be decent. We then also have, of course, the Strength Final Form Cooler, who's also an incredibly solid option. However, he is obviously at the friend lead, so we're relying a lot on him for damage. We're going to save his active skill for the Int Goku phase, because obviously that's the phase we want to get through as quickly as possible. Your pairings and rotations, you want to have the LR Int Cooler linked up with the Int free-to-play cooler. That's at least the rotation I'm running, and it works for me quite nicely, so I do enjoy it. And then of course you also want the Strength cooler to be linked up with the Tech cooler. Android 13, he can float, and we'll talk about him just now. But Android 13 is actually a really solid unit to use in a lot of these situations. So what makes Android 13 so solid is more the fact that he gains a huge amount of buffs when facing a unit that has Goku in the name. So as long as it's got Goku or Piccolo or Trunks or Vegeta, I believe, this guy gains a buff. And obviously, like, Ginyu Goku's kind of excluded, but this guy gains a lot of decent buffs when he is facing a Goku unit, so much so that he actually becomes really quite good. Like, honestly, he really becomes quite good. He has like very high levels of damage reduction, he has attack and defense, he stacks attack and defense, he has built-in crits, he has like a lot of good things going on when he's facing a Goku unit. When he's not facing a Goku unit, things become a little bit more difficult. But yeah, overall he's still a really good option, and he's a fun one to use on the movie bosses team. And this is one of the few times where he can really shine. So kind of wanted to just use him and, you know, just enjoy using him a little bit. I think it's always fun to spice things up, and it allowed me to run a slightly variant team to the Wicked Bloodlines one that I used. Otherwise you would just run the Wicked Bloodlines one as well, because why not? At the end of the day, whatever gets you through, you know, gets you through. So all good at the end of the day. At any point, you just do need to worry a little bit about type disadvantaged supers. Our units are strong defensively, but I would say only 2 of them or 3 of them are probably strong enough. Okay, 4 of them I think are strong enough to just tank, you know, like to just tank abilities all the time. Strength Cooler can tank all the time, very good from that perspective. Tech Cooler, once he's built up, will be able to tank more than fine. And then you also have the Int Metal Cooler after supers, and you have Android 13, who will be able to tank more than fine as well. So you do have decent options. It's just not every unit is super tanky. But that's not also the end of the world, because we do have some very good regeneration. From the auto regeneration link and the passives of all the metal coolers, we can regen a lot of health. So does tend to make life a little bit easier, of course, as always, when you have regen or just things like that in general. So yeah, just good stuff, honestly speaking. I would say overall, this was a very smooth free-to-play run, so really nothing too crazy to worry about. And yeah, like I said, the main goal here was we wanted to save the active skill for the Int Goku phase, and that's still what you want to do. The reason is the Int Goku phase, not that we specifically have any weak tech units, but it's the nice thing about the active skills, it can't be dodged, or no, it can be dodged. I believe it can be dodged actually. I think, I can't remember. I don't know. I think it can be nullified, but I don't think it can be dodged. But yeah, the active skill basically just helps us kind of tear through Goku, especially since his evasion can be somewhat irritating still. You sometimes forget how much Goku like evades, or at least can appear to evade in a certain turn, and so that makes life a little bit difficult. But as you can see, we've jumped to the end. Really wasn't anything too crazy. I think we used 1 King Yema item, which obviously, you know, does help. And yeah, that was kind of it. I don't think we actually ran or did anything else in terms of like team or team changes or item usage or anything like that. I think we ran a King Yema and we did an Android 8 for a little bit of healing. I just wanted to top up because I didn't really feel like wasting the run going for the no item. Not with this. I mean, we've already done so many no items of the Goku event, so yeah, just kind of wanted to spice things up and obviously just change things around. But yeah, it was a super duper simple run, a lot of fun, and at the end of the day, really nice free-to-play options that we could use to make life way easier. But that is basically going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, and of course I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, take care, stay safe, and as always, see you guys next time. Bye.